Alright, what is up? This is SLOplays, and I'm here today for some really big news in regards to Dragon Ball and potential updates for either a movie, anime, and even a potential new video game. This is actually pretty major stuff. Let's talk about this. Shout out to DBS Hype for reporting on this. It all comes from Yumi, aka Andy, who actually put out this information a couple of days ago. But I mean, we're only like a few days into the new year of 2025, and they're already dropping some pretty exciting stuff. Now, don't get your hopes up, too much, right? We don't even know exactly what this is going to be, but they stated news on All Night. I think it's Nippon? I don't know. Dragon Ball 40th Anniversary Special. As you guys know, the 40th Anniversary has kind of been going on since last year, and it's probably going to be going on throughout this year as well. It's just, these 2 years back-to-back are going to be big for Dragon Ball, right? So, Akio Ioku, you already know, Capsule Corporation, Tokyo, the man, the myth, the legend himself. He was asked about more games and movies, and he replied with, there may be some announcements coming this year. So he's specifically saying this year. Now, again, don't get your hopes up, okay? This guy, Ioku, right? I love him. He's awesome. He does a lot of cool stuff for Dragon Ball. He's been doing cool stuff for Dragon Ball, at least in my opinion, right? He's the reason why we got, like, Broly and Gohan, being one of the main characters in Superhero and stuff. Like, all the cool stuff, like, that's exciting, right? He knows what fans really want, so he pushes for a lot of that stuff. And now that he's the head of Capsule Corporation Tokyo and he's in charge of movies, video games, anime-related stuff, again, he doesn't do anything related to the manga, okay? That's still Shueisha and, likely Toyotaro, right? But this is pretty important stuff, right? Just starting off the year with this. So, again, shout-outs to Andy Yumi. Credits to him. I'll link both DBS Hype and him down in the description. Happy New Year. Yesterday on January 1st, Akio Ioku talked about the 40th Anniversary Special radio show for about 20 minutes about various Dragon Ball things, including Daima and what may be coming, okay? So, I'm not going to go through the entire thing. He's just, discussing stuff with Dr. Slump, Dragon Ball, Daima. Ioku is aware about the crazy DB fandom abroad as he went to DB events outside Japan. Asked about which cosplay he noticed the most abroad, it's, of course, Goku, or at least people wearing his Dogi. Interesting, also Master Roshi. Okay, so check this out. Talked about the difficulty making new games. It's not like, let's make it and it'll be ready next year, right? Right? I feel like there are people who actually genuinely think that, because we do get a new Dragon Ball game basically every single year, okay? Because, Bandai has to renew their license and stuff. And so far, that seems to still be in effect with what Bandai has to do. If they want to keep the Dragon Ball IP with their shit, right? If they want to keep having, publishing the Dragon Ball games, they have to have some type of new release every single year. And it can be like remakes, or not necessarily remakes, but like rehashes of games that have already been released on a different console. Usually it's Switch, like this year or maybe next year, we'll probably see Sparking Zero on whatever that new Switch is going to be, right? So realistically, it can take up to 3 to 5 years. So it's sometimes better to also make DLCs, such as with Kakarot, to keep people engaged. Now, that is very important. That's kind of what, a lot of us that have been following the Dragon Ball games know. That's why Xenoverse 2 keeps getting DLC 8 years later, and Xenoverse 3 hasn't been released yet. It's just easier, and it's better for them. It's a more optimal decision to release DLC over creating a brand new game, right? And, when it comes to these games that have already been pretty polished, and I'm not saying Xenoverse 2 necessarily, but like a game like Kakarot, or, maybe even Fighters, which can constantly get updates and stuff, they can just release more and more DLC. Now, with Fighters, I don't know what the fuck happened. They stopped doing DLC, which is very sad, okay? I hope we get a sequel like that. Fighters is definitely one of the biggest Dragon Ball games ever created in the history of Dragon Ball, right? So, them not making any new content or any new shit for it is very odd. And I don't know if maybe in the background Arc System Works is working on a sequel to it. Who knows? We'll definitely see. But who knows what they're making right now? Like, as we speak, every single minute, second that goes by, there is a dev out there creating a Dragon Ball game. As you guys know, we have like 50 different Dragon Ball games that are going on right now. We have Sparking Zero, we have Kakarot, we have Xenoverse 2, we have Legends, we have Dokkan, we have, Dragon Ball The Breakers. Like, there's a million different games, and they're all trying to do something different, right? Not, 2 games do the same thing. I mean, for the most part, right? Like, the closest you'll get is Xenoverse 2 and Sparking Zero being an arena fighter, and that's it, okay? Everything else is completely different, right? There's a reason why there is a fan base for each of these different games, okay? So, like I said, they're definitely experimenting with different genres. Maybe right now they're making a Dragon Ball racing game, like where you just fly around, or you're actually in a fucking car, like like in the DBZ anime, what is it, the little filler episode that they had where Goku and Piccolo get a license, right? Maybe they're doing something like that. Maybe they're doing an FPS Dragon Ball game, as weird as that sounds. And I'm not saying it's like Fortnite, they're going around with guns, but maybe it's like a first-person shooter, but you're using like ki blasts and kamehamehas. Like, as weird as crazy that sound, I feel like they could pull some shit off like that, right? There's so many different genres out there that they can, you know, incorporate Dragon Ball into, and people will fucking buy it and play it, right? It's not going to do as well as an arena fighter or a fighting game, right? Like a traditional 2D fighter, but, you know, there will be a fan base for it, right? So I think that's really, really significant that he did mention that. This is the second time you know, somebody has said, at least a higher up official has said, that an anime game generally takes around 3 to potentially 5 years. I believe CC2, one of the, I don't know, like owners or producers or devs or whatever, they said the same thing for I think it was Naruto Storm or whatever. And it makes sense, right? Like, what do we know? Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, that was in development. They had said the development for 5 years, right? So that's the realistic expectation. Like Xenoverse 3, again, it could be cooking in the background, and maybe that's taking a little bit longer, or it's definitely going to take longer because, I mean, obviously, again, Xenoverse 2 is still getting DLC. But who knows? Maybe Xenoverse 3 will be the next game. Maybe that's the game that he's talking about, he's referring to. But don't get your hopes up. It could be literally anything, right? So other than that, I don't think there's anything super major. All he said was, he cannot talk about when the final episode will air for Daima, and he got asked about more movies, games, etc., and he said there may be some announcements coming this year, right? Really, really, really significant shit, right? I don't want to get my hopes up, but that makes me excited. That gets me excited. You know, even if it's like the smallest chance of something new, either a movie, which the movie, there's been a rumor for like the past, you know, year, that a new Dragon Ball Super movie could be coming, you know, within the next, you know, year or two, okay? But we'll see, right? Final word, since it's New Year's, he'd recommend to rewatch the 12 Daima episodes we have so far, enjoy the games, and look forward to 2025. Host goes like, there's something, right? And Ioki goes like, something, hinting again at something might be coming / announced, okay? Now, again, this is not the first time that Ioku has done this bullshit, okay? Where he says, oh, there's something coming later this year or something like that. He did that, like, I think a couple of years ago, and it ended up being just bullshit, right? It ended up being nothing. Either it was nothing or he just forgot about it and never mentioned it. It could have been Daima related, or it could have been Sparking Zero. I don't fucking know, okay? But, you know, there's something here, right? He literally says something, right? So let's talk about what the next Dragon Ball game confirmed is going to be, right? We've played Sparking Zero. We're enjoying it. All the games are going to be getting DLC this year. We should be getting Sparking Zero DLC sometime this year or whatever. Or I say sometime this year, sometime this month, right? It's likely going to be dropping. Now, Dragon Ball Project Multi, this was an unexpected announcement. Sparking Zero was still at its height, its peak of promotion, right? It was in the promotional phases of the game before it even released. And then out of nowhere, they said, by the way, guys, we have a new Dragon Ball game coming called Project Multi, aka a MOBA, okay? There was an anime game called Jump Assemble that was almost exactly like this, okay? If you guys don't know what a MOBA is, it is basically League of Legends or Pokemon Unite. Is that what it was called? It's a fun game. I like the style of it, and it can be very, very addicting. And the feedback for the game, a lot of people like it. Okay, for those of you that like this type of game, it was very well received, right? This was playing it through the beta, right? You actually played the game. It wasn't like Sparking Zero where it's like you were just watching gameplay or seeing what it would look like before the game even came out, right? These are actual, you know, we actually tried this out. For the most part, a lot of people liked it, okay? Personally, for me, it's not my, you know, main cup of tea, right? I'm not big into it. I played a little bit of League in high school, and that was it. Just a little bit. I'm talking like very, very minuscule amount, right? But because this has Dragon Ball characters, it's definitely exciting, and it was definitely fun for what I tried out, and I'm definitely ready to try more, okay? I'm not going to go out of my way to be like, oh my god, I got to find a way to play this game early or something like that. If I can, I will, right? If they're going to do another beta, right? But this is scheduled for release in 2025. That's scheduled, not 100% just in case something happens, who knows, right? But I doubt anything's going to happen in the background. I don't think there's going to be any delays. I'm pretty sure as long as they do more beta testing and they let people try it out and do a public beta test, right? More people can, give feedback, right? So they did give some feedback on it, right? I mean, at least from us, right? And here are the positives that they said, okay? There's a high interest in future hero characters. General rules are not too confusing and easy to get into. It is a pretty straightforward game. It's not like it's not like a fighting game. It's like you have a couple of buttons. The objective is to get to the end of the opponent's side, and you have to get the Dragon Ball, claim the Dragon Ball. Okay, pretty simple. It's a very straightforward concept. Okay, easy control. Yeah, pretty decent. Network latency was not detrimental to overall experience. From what I played, I didn't really experience any lag. The only time that you would get lag is if your device was ass, right? This is on PC and for mobile devices. Okay. Isometric views did not diminish the value of the world of Dragon Ball. General aesthetics are in tune with the fan expectations. Big major thing about this game, it's a beautiful game, right? I know the actual gameplay itself is like top-down view type of thing. Again, it's like a MOBA, right? But the actual like visuals of whenever you do specials and the costumes and like the actual graphics of the game itself are very, very nice. Okay, keep in mind this is developed by Gunbodion. Okay, if that's how you even pronounce it. You know who developed that? What other game? Dragon Ball Fusions. Love that game. Fantastic game. Okay, even though it was on 3DS, it was still really fucking good, right? Demand for cosmetic items exceeded expectations. So even though that is a positive, I think I don't want to personally say it's a negative, but cosmetics and paid gacha stuff, that's what this game is. That's how all these games are these days, okay? So if you don't like that, this might not be the game for you. Now, the negatives. Certain game systems felt unrewarding. Specific character roles, tanks outperformed others to an extreme degree. Slightly confusing UI, friend/party system bug, lacking mobile-tailored interface, crashes, and high-temperature hardware on mobile. Which, yeah, it's a pretty, I don't want to say super graphically intensive, okay, but it definitely has better graphics than, like, Dragon Ball Legends, for example, okay? Legends looks very good, but this game is, like, it almost has like a fighter's style of graphics, right? Too many bots, not enough difference between rounds to warrant long-term replayability, okay? And again, it just depends on your preference for the game in terms of, the style of it. Like for me, like I can't sit here and tell you what was good or bad, okay? I think the game was fun. I think after playing it a lot, it's gonna get old, okay? Like Dragon Ball The Breakers, for example, was an example of that, right? For me, I played it like for a full month. I enjoyed it, and then I just didn't really have an interest of going back because it just wasn't, a game that it wasn't a genre that I liked. If it's a fighting game, I'm all for it, right? But other than that, I mean, in conclusion, I think that it's good that they're taking feedback and that they're, kind of in the background cooking. All right, let them cook, right? There hasn't been any updates on the game since they released this, which this was a while ago. But yeah, it's supposed to be coming out sometime this year. It could be literally at any point. Maybe it's going to be releasing within like the next couple of months. I doubt it. I hope not. I want them, again, when a game is being developed, y'all need to stop asking, oh, this game needs to release right now. Because every time y'all do that, it releases and it's unfinished. It's always happening, bro. Like, Dragon Ball games, I know we want them, like, we like to have a release every single year, but it's the same situation with Pokemon, okay? As time goes on, these games, they need to get more and more refined, more and more polished, okay? If we're spending $70 fucking dollars, which this game is not $70, it is, as far as I know, a free-to-play game with in-game, microtransactions, right? But when you're paying a lot of money for the game or you're excited for a new game, it does not hurt to let them cook, okay? Let them cook for as long as they really need to, because whenever they drop it, it's going to be fire, right? Hopefully. We'll see. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of what's going on with Dragon Ball right now. We have some type of potential announcements coming for either a movie or even a new game, or maybe both. Okay, 2025, like I said, it could be big because of the 40th anniversary and shit, but we are confirmed to be getting a brand new game this year, which is Dragon Ball Project Multi. And don't worry, guys, it's not like this is going to be the only game. Okay, I'm not confirming that, but there have been years where they've released multiple games. Okay, again, Bandai does the publishing for all these Dragon Ball games, but these are all from different developers. Okay, I would say Dimps is the only company out there that is doing multiple Dragon Ball games, Breakers, Legends, and Xenoverse 2, okay? And Dimps is probably huge, so they probably have a bunch of different devs, right? But Gambadion's doing this, Arxis is doing Fighters, you know, CC2 is doing Kakarot, Spike Chunsoft is doing Sparking Zero. So there could be a new game dev that comes through, okay? Because there's probably new game developers everywhere, right? Coming up, popping up, right? So one of them might be like, hey, I'd like to, you know, pick up Dragon Ball as an IP and give my, you know, have an opportunity to make my own, you know, style of game, right? And it could be a new fighting game. It could be, you know, anything. But I think when it comes to, you know, the games that people really like, Arxis, CC2, Dimps, and Spike Chunsoft are probably the best when it comes to creating a big Dragon Ball game, okay? And again, we just got Sparking Zero, so I wouldn't expect a big one coming. It's going to be more like a side game like this, okay? Like a filler. These are kind of like filler games. They're still fun, but it's not going to capture the attention of everyone, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, last thing, this is just something separate that Herms talked about. Each Daima episode title is a single Japanese word with one katakana letter in red. Executive producer Akio Yoku also hinted that these have some meaning but can't say more yet, okay? So I don't know what this is going to be, but I did notice this. Each episode with the title or whatever, they have like one of the kanji or whatever in red, okay? So this is going to spell something out after all the episodes air, right? I believe there's supposed to be around 8 more episodes. I think 20 is kind of what most people have been saying. So this could spell something out. Don't expect anything crazy. It could just be like hi or something dumb, right? So I just thought this was interesting. I thought this was pretty cool. So we'll see what happens with that, okay? So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Lots we had to talk about. Sorry if my voice kind of sounded weird throughout this, or if I was like scratching my throat a lot. My throat has been all fucked up. But get excited. Don't get too excited. Don't get your hopes up. But you know, 2025 overall, it's going to be looks like another banger year for Dragon Ball, hopefully. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Drop a like, subscribe here on the channel, ring my notification bell, and y'all have a great day. Peace!
This is Broly, and you are watching SLOplays. Make sure to subscribe, or else I'll destroy your entire planet.